Hello, I'm Robert Burns, CEO of the Sault Ste. Marie Chamber of Commerce, and today we welcome Arnold Heino, the New Blue candidate for the Sault Ste. Marie riding in the upcoming provincial election on February 27th. Before we begin here, I just want to start by acknowledging and recognizing that we're holding these interviews on the traditional, territorial, and ancestral lands of the Ojibwe people from the Garden River and the Batchewana First Nations. And to the Anishinaabe people, this sacred and spiritual place has been known since time immemorial as Bawading, and we wish to honor the Anishinaabe and Métis on this part of Turtle Island as we recognize their homelands in the spirit of partnership and reconciliation. Now, to start with, I have a few housekeeping items. All candidates that we interview for the February 27th election that we were able to get in touch with were given the opportunity and invited to participate. Each candidate that does join us will be asked the same set of questions. Candidates will have up to 3 minutes to answer each question before I jump in and thank them for their response and then move on to the next question. After all the questions have been posed, each candidate will be given an opportunity for closing remarks following the same 3-minute time allotment. And once we have completed all of the interviews, they will all be uploaded individually to our YouTube channel and shared with our membership and the public. So, hello Arnold, and thank you for joining us and agreeing to this Q&A with the Sault Ste. Marie Chamber of Commerce. To start, why don't you just take a couple of minutes and just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, why you decided to run in this election, and so forth.
Well, my name's Arnold Heino, born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie. I guess one of the reasons I got into the fight, as you could say, is the last 3 years have been turmoil in Canada with the lockdowns and all that, and freedom of speech being taken away from the Canadians, and the governmental overreach of taking away everybody's rights. Like, our country was based on the supremacy of God and the rule of law, and we've gotten away from that. We have to get back to our roots.
Okay, well, once again, thanks for participating. We're going to jump right in there. So, first question. How do you plan to collaborate with city officials and community partners and stakeholders to create jobs, foster innovation, drive growth, attract trade and investment to Sault Ste. Marie?
Well, I would turn that question around. I would ask them what their plan is. Like, I'm the spokesperson for Sault Ste. Marie, and I'm not here to make decisions. I'm here to bring the decisions to Queen's Park. So whatever ideas we can work with together, and bring them down and fight for them down in Queen's Park.
Okay. Second question, what is your party's platform on healthcare accessibility and quality medical services, and how will your plans specifically address healthcare needs in Sault Ste. Marie?
Well, being from the healthcare system, I think it's time that I used to be a lab tech. Okay. So I think it's time that, first off, we bring all the nurses, doctors, and healthcare workers that lost their jobs back due to the mandates and lockdowns. So that's what in our platform, we want to give them first chance to get their jobs back. Okay. Another thing too is we want to keep the World Health Organization out of our healthcare system. We want to give the doctors back their free speech, because a lot of doctors during the lockdowns weren't able to speak their mind without repercussions. So,
okay. This third question, this is a long one, so bear with me.
Yeah, cool.
The Northern Chambers, and by Northern Chambers, Thunder Bay, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, North Bay, and Sudbury. The 5 of us, supported by the Ontario Chamber of Commerce and municipalities across northern and rural Ontario, we've called for an immediate set-aside of 3,000 spots for northern communities within the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. This proposal, it involves no new program spending, utilizes current staff resources, who right now are predominantly processing applications for the GTA. If elected, will you support this change to guarantee a portion of these spots for rural and northern Ontario?
So I'll look at our platform here. We support Ontario having more control over its immigration, kind of like the Quebec model, and including the ability to set its own immigration levels, select all of its economic class immigrants, control temporary residence admissions, have say on the family and refugee classes, have full control over settlement funding provided to it by the federal government to serve as newcomers with the various assistance such as language training, job training, and other supports.
Fourth question. How will you ensure small businesses have fair access to funding, particularly for growth, expansion, and purchasing commercial properties?
Well, if the business needs grants right off the hop kind of deal, it's kind of like they're already in, how do I say it? It's already, they're behind the 8 ball. Like if you get in business, you should be able to sustain yourself a bit. But another big thing is we have to get rid of the red tape for businesses. I mean, you look at, I think it's places in Southern Ontario last couple of years, whatever, where they actually give especially the buildings downtown, free taxes for a year to get them going. So the biggest thing with small business is so much red tape. It's almost, that's why people don't want to get into business. Too much government control.
Okay, well, thank you. Next question. What steps will you take to address the mental health and addictions crisis, particularly as it impacts the business community and downtown tourism areas in Sault Ste. Marie?
Well, I've heard throughout the city that we need, like the rehab site that they have is Sault Ste, that the old Sault Ste building. We need a lot bigger building. We need a lot bigger place than that. And unfortunately, the addictions and all that are rampant in our city, and these people, no pun intended, but they're dying for help. They know they need help, and they need vessels to give them that help. And when they get into the rehab, that way they can get back to feeling good about themselves, and then get them to relearn the skills that they have, so that they can integrate into back to society. And another thing that too, we gotta get this stuff off our streets.
Excuse me. Question 6. How do you plan to address the ongoing tariff crisis? And will there be targeted support for industries and communities that are most affected by these challenges?
Well, I think this almost seems like a corporate welfare ideology with the tariffs and all that, but we have to lower taxes. We have to, we have to get rid of the red tape and keep government out of it. Like I think we should economically, like I was watching Preston Manning the other day, and he said it very well. Like we have to get Canada and the States working economically together, so that we can be, in short words, an economic power. And then in the same time as we're doing that, we should get rid of the tariffs and our cross-provincial things. We have to open Canada up, because Canada is, if not one of the richest resources countries in the world. And if Canada and the States work together collaboratively, we could have the rest of the world crying to us for help.
With the exception of tariffs, what do you identify as the 2 most critical issues facing our business community, and how does your party's platform provide solutions to these challenges?
Well, I think like with Chamber of Commerce and businesses in Sault Ste. Marie, we have to work together, and I have to listen to what they say and what they want, and I bring their ideas to Queen's Park. Like I'm here for the people, and I have to listen to what they say, what they want, and work together and fight for Sault Ste. Marie, so we get Sault Ste. Marie back to the city it used to be. It's still there. It's just we got to fight more for Northern Ontario rather than Southern Ontario.
Okay, well, let's see here. The question number 8. What is your party's plan for establishing a formula-based funding approach and introducing new revenue tools to help northern municipalities deliver long-term infrastructure projects?
Well, first off, I think we should be putting more oversight on government funds to ensure the monies are spent for the original purpose, not being sidelined off to other things. And I don't think, we think that there's not enough, we don't know where all the money, like we're getting funding for projects. Is all that money going to where it's supposed to be going? There should be more oversight to making sure the monies are being spent properly and not funded off into other little venues.
Okay. Quite an open-ended question here, but if elected, how will you ensure Sault Ste. Marie is effectively represented at Queen's Park and have a strong voice in provincial decision-making?
I have not open door policy. My phone's open 24 hours a day, and I'll be the voice that stands for Sault Ste. Marie down Queen's Park, and make sure that government does what they say. Like it's we the people, not we the government.
Okay, and you know what? The 10th question. What opportunities do you see for Sault Ste. Marie's growth, both economically and socially, and how can our business community contribute to that growth?
I think, well, one thing you have in there that I don't maybe other people are talking about, but people ask me, what about the windmills? The windmills are being shut down. Like you have Thessalon and Espanola and Terrace Bay. Like we need to get them back on track, because if you look like Finland, they have 1/5 the size of Ontario, and yet they're the number one wood producer in the world. So we should be reaching out them to can we get that wood industry back, and for example, making wood products to build houses and all that right here in northern Ontario. Like the wood line up there is almost similar to Finland, so we have to reach out to countries like that to help us get that going first, and then again I have to listen to what the city people want, the Sault Ste. Marie want, and what the businesses want, and we have to get rid of crime in the cities and all that.
Okay, well, thank you for all your responses, Arnold. Why don't you take a few minutes here for any closing remarks? Floor is yours.
Well, first off, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity. It's nice to see people reaching out and that, so making it fair to all parties. And I guess if anybody wants to reach out to me, you can reach out at the New Blue Party on newblueontario.com, and my site will be on there. Or you can reach out to me personally. I mean, it's 705-938-1027. My phone's always open if anybody has any questions. And I want to thank you for support. And it's time we get Sault Ste. Marie to be what it used to be, the leader of Ontario. Because back in the days, everything is Sudbury and down. They forget about the good old white north. And it's like our sign there in front of City Hall, I'll go and spend in the city. And we have to get back to them days. Like, remember, I'm sure you're born here like myself. I remember just riding around my bike all over town and not a care in the world. We used to have the court that I lived on, we used to have summer barbecues for the whole court to get together and just mingle and have fun. And Sault Ste. Marie has good people, and we need a strong leader that's going to stand up for the people. And like I said earlier, it's we the people, not we the government.
Well, thank you very much. On behalf of the Sault Ste. Marie Chamber of Commerce, thanks for taking part in our Q&A sessions, our interviews, engaging the Chamber of Commerce and our membership. And we wish you and all the candidates all the best in the remaining campaign period. And lastly, we'd also like to thank everyone who takes the time to view these videos. We hope that they help better inform you about each of the candidates as we get closer to the election. Ontario faces some significant challenges in the coming years, but on the flip side, there are no shortage of opportunities. We encourage you to exercise your right to vote, have your voice heard, and get out on February 27th and cast your ballot. Thank you once again.